Boozed and Confused is a comedy and weird topic podcast. Adult language may be used, probably by me. While our episode topics may be educational in nature, we are not responsible if your children start dropping the F-bomb to their kindergarten class. Listener discretion is advised. Hello, everybody.
We're back.
We're sorry. Didn't mean to. I actually wrote this episode for last week's episode, which ended up not getting recorded for various reasons. So you get it now, which is actually okay because there's like a very tiny update to it. But before we get into today's episode, hello, I'm Carol Ann.
Hey, this is this is Matt.
Welcome back to another episode of Boozed and Confused.
The weekly podcast, except when it's not.
The episode or the podcast where we release episodes every Monday, except for when we don't. Before we get into today's episode, a few notes that I'm just going to run through. I think today's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. It's more of like a weird history. Okay. So first piece is we're on all your favorite social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, the YouTube, and Twitter.
We are on Twitter, aren't we?
We are on Twitter. And hi, Daddy Elon. And if you want to hang out with us, send us some cool shit. We're always down for that. If not, if social media is not really your thing, you could reach us at boozedandconfusedpodcast@gmail.com. And what else? If you like the pod and you want to support us, the best way that you could do that is by leaving a review and or subscribing or following wherever you get your podcasts. It's always appreciated. And get this.
There's more.
You're never going to believe this.
Wait, let me guess. There's some kind of thing that we send them.
There's a thing we send you. If you take a screenshot of a review that you've left and send it to us, we'll send you some Boozed and Confused stickers.
I was going to guess vials of blood.
Yeah, the vials of blood are next. Yeah.
Once the stickers run out.
So make sure you get your stickers today. We'll send you some stickers wherever you are in the world. Oh, or at least we try to. We really try. In terms of like outside of the continental U.S. So, what else? What are we drinking?
And it's a we are drinking thing. It's a Leinenkugel lemon haze IPA. It's like an IPA with a little bit of like lemon at the end.
Was it the grapefruit one of this pack that I really liked? Stop
you
it.
like the peach?
Oh, that was it. The peach one.
Yeah, the sour peach. Because
it was like the
it was kind of sour.
It was like eating Peachios in liquid form. This one, I really just have like a little cup of it with like 2 sips. I don't know that I'm really sold on it. So
it's okay. It's okay. Yeah. I can get through it.
It's fine. Okay, so today's episode, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole with this, and I learned a lot from this rabbit hole, but apparently it's not news to other people. It's like weird history, but when I talked to people about it, they were like, oh yeah, duh. And I was like, well, what do you mean duh? It was brand new news to me. So
it's news to us.
So we're going to talk about it. But among all of the other like absolutely batshit insane headlines that you've probably heard in the news recently, there's one that probably stood out a lot more than the others. And it was much more gruesome than the others. If you saw the photos, which I don't know, I'd recommend not looking I don't know. I wish I could unsee it maybe a little bit.
Really? Well, I want to see it for the first time.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
Look, you're my news source.
Yeah, that's not healthy.
You're my news source. Because if I look at the news, then it's all I focus on.
I'm your news aggregator. Everything's peachy in the world. We're all good.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay.
So there were pictures that surfaced of this like horribly decayed body that was basically skeletal inside of a barrel that's been rusted out, it looks like, and it's laying in a part of Lake Mead that's reached unprecedented low water levels. And the update to this is that they just found more skeletal remains over the weekend. And it sounds like that's going to be a much more common thing. At least that's what the authorities have said, that we should expect more bodies to pop up. We could make this an episode about the horrors of climate change because that's the larger story here. Let's be real. But we're just going to like sidestep that part.
Just the bodies.
Yeah.
How the heck did those bodies get there?
We're going to sidestep that part for now and focus on the horrors of just like dead bodies that have been hidden in the lake for decades. Before we get into what's in the lake, let's put the lake itself into perspective and give it some context because this kind of blew my mind a little bit. Anything like too far west of us, I really don't have great, geographic knowledge. So reading a lot of this was new to me for the first time. So Lake Mead is the largest man-made reservoir in the U.S. It spans over 110 miles long in Nevada and Arizona. When it's at its fullest, it boasts 759 miles of shoreline.
That's a big body of water.
Yeah, it's huge. It's 532 feet deep, 247 square miles of surface, and an astounding 28 million acre feet of water. That's when it's at its fullest. Again, the real horrors of the story is that it's at like unprecedented low levels of water. But so it's in Nevada. It's located on the Colorado River. It's like 25 miles from the Las Vegas Strip. This part is pretty important. Scary part is that 25 million people in Arizona, Nevada, California, and Mexico rely on Lake Mead water, which has been running out of water at a pretty high rate.
That's concerning. That's an alarming rate.
Yeah. Well, we're just going to talk about the bodies, though.
Just the bodies. How'd they get there?
Just the bodies.
Don't go swimming if you're going to go in a barrel, I think, is what I'm taking away from this.
Yeah, absolutely. So as of last Monday, the lake's water level was around 1,054 feet above sea level, which is 160 feet below its 2000 level when it was last considered full, and it's the lowest level on record for the reservoir since it was filled in the 1930s. Okay, so why do we keep harping on like how low the water is getting?
It's because it's hot.
Well, there's a lot of things going on, but let's sum it up a little bit. It's the largest man-made reservoir in the U.S. It's been around since the Hoover Dam was built. It's close to the Las Vegas Strip, and it's dying up at an alarming rate.
Dying up.
Wait, is that what I said?
You said dying up.
Oh, drying up at an alarming rate.
I like dying up.
Yeah, sorry. That was... it's been a fucking week. I don't know, man.
Every week's been a week.
I feel like being an adult is just constantly saying, I just got to get through this week and then it'll slow down. It never slows down. Never slows down.
It's like, oh yeah, this weekend's going to be great.
Yeah. And then, whoop, it's Monday already.
Oops.
That's depressing. So there's some really cool shit that's under the lake. There was a town called St. Thomas that was submerged at one point. I think that town was founded by LDS. There's like a whole history about it. But it looks like some of that like town has reappeared.
Oh, it's like Atlantis.
Yeah. So there's like shipwrecks, there's like sunken cars, there's like the remains of a B-29 bomber that like crashed in the lake in 1948. I have a link in the show notes from the site that's called Only in Your State. There's a ton of really cool pictures from dives people have done that show you what you can find in the lake. But then let's go back to like this whole part about it's been around since the Hoover Dam. Very close to the Las Vegas Strip.
Can you please call it the Hoover Darn?
Sorry, this is a family show.
This is not a family show.
Yeah, don't have your kids listen to this. So obviously last week there was a barrel found with a skeleton inside, stuck in the mud after the lake had dropped to these super low levels. And police didn't really share a ton about the victim other than this was likely from the 70s or 80s and died of a gunshot wound. And they identified the time period based on the clothing and shoe wear that was on the skeleton.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant, but I kind of assumed if the body had been there for like 40 years, like the clothes
like
wouldn't
in the
be.
water.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that clothing? You know what? It says a lot about how
The
we used
quality
to
of the
make things.
barrel?
The quality
Oh, yeah.
of the clothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still not super clear on that part, but I don't know. So this body's identified as like being from the 80s. It's, super close to Vegas. And police are saying, oh, wouldn't be shocking if this was a mob hit. And I was like, wait a second. What do you mean a mob hit? And apparently this is the part that was brand new to me. The mob basically dominated the Strip during that time. And like during the, like Las Vegas was built on like mob beginnings.
Yeah, if you are a fan of the Godfather trilogy,
Never seen it.
You would know that in part 2, the Corleone family is trying to kind of like get established in Las Vegas.
Yeah. There's a whole thing we'll get into.
There's a whole trilogy of movies. They're really good.
Yeah. What did you
The
call
third
it?
one, Il Padrino.
Yeah.
The third one's kind of whatever, but the first two, just, oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, I'll put it on my list.
No, you're not. You're not going to put it on your list.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to like Clockwork Orange you and watch it.
Yeah. That's
Have you seen Clockwork Orange?
Uh-huh.
Because if you knew what I meant by I'm going to Clockwork Orange you and make you watch it, you'd not like it. Remember this scene?
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to take me to a chair and then...
Hold your eyeballs open and keep them moist.
Yeah, great.
With teardrops.
This sounds like a good Friday night.
It's Sunday.
Yeah.
Everyone.
So back in the 80s, they obviously didn't have DNA databases, so it's not like they were like collecting DNA. So even if they could get something off of the skeleton, it would be like a really challenging case to solve, is my guess. But so the whole history of Vegas, how it was started, how the mob is involved. Okay, so the early 40s, Vegas is like, I don't know if I'd say it was a shithole, but like it was not a great place to live or to really do business. And it was like a desert town with like, I don't know, really rough residents. Like you got to think about the kind of people that would want to live there, knowing the kind of area it was. Yeah. So, you could see the city from US Highway 91. It like goes directly through, on its way to California. And it was not a place that you would like stop at during a trip, until these crime lords from New York.
Whoa. We don't call them that.
What do we call them?
Family folk.
Oh, sorry.
Family people.
Yeah. Okay, so these family folks.
There you go.
Meyer Lansky and Frank Costello introduced Bugsy Siegel there. And
names.
And in Bugsy's investigation, he wants to discover if Vegas is like a good place for gambling on the West Coast. And so Nevada legalized gambling in 1931, but really it was only like cowboys and men working near military bases that had cared at all, which is kind of funny given Vegas is such a big gambling place now, which thanks to the mob.
Just on the heat alone, I don't ever really want to go to Vegas.
It's not appealing to me.
There is a Sphinx there. There's some pyramids, and I think even the Eiffel Tower is there.
Yeah, those are not enticing. Not for me to go there.
You can see all the world's wondrous creations in one place.
No, thank you.
And lose your house.
Yeah, exactly.
And the kids, maybe.
Get your knuckles broken for counting cards. So, 1946 comes around, and Bugsy, opens like Vegas's first luxurious casino, thanks to like Bugsy's like own talent. Apparently he could like fucking sell a, I don't know, a pen to a cat.
He could sell salt to like a White Sox fan.
What?
He could sell salt to a White Sox fan.
You're so fucking rude. So, he also has the help of the mafia here, which is an important part. So, the Flamingo was the first of many of the gambling houses in Vegas that was gangster financed. And, with the Desert Inn and Thunderbird and Flamingo, the mob establishes a pretty like profitable and legally backed business, which is important.
Are there quotation marks around legal?
No, I think this part was legitimate.
This is like legal proper.
Yeah. I think this is legal proper, which is important. So it's important to note going into the rest of this that Bugsy is like considered a hitman, and Meyer Lansky is like the money man. So Bugsy is the one that's like overseeing everything that's happening at the Flamingo, and Lansky is just trusting him. I don't know if I'd say blindly, but really trusting him with like the success of everything. So, Bugsy starts missing payments as construction costs rise, and only the casino, the lounge, the restaurant, and the theater were completed at the Flamingo before it opened in 1946. And there's ongoing construction, an unfinished venue, and problematic air conditioning, and the casino just like goes bankrupt. It just completely runs out of money. And so even though this like grand opening that they have is successful, there's a lot of guests that turn out. There's a lot of construction noises. There's like puddles of dirt. It's probably not the best experience for these people. And the gaming tables were open, but these luxurious hotel rooms that people probably like flocked out for, flocked, Flamingo.
Oh my gosh. Good night, everyone.
Good night. The luxurious hotel rooms weren't ready, so people like didn't want to stay overnight.
This is like Firefest.
Yeah.
This is like Firefest.
This is
the OG.
This is the OG Firefest, except you're not stuck on an island. So pretty much as soon as it opens, the Flamingo's bankrupt, and it's shut down completely by like late January. And because Bugsy is the one that's in charge of this, there's this desire to quote unquote off Bugsy because of the financial losses. But Lansky is like, you know what? Give him another chance. He's a friend of mine. Give him a chance. So the Flamingo eventually reopens in 1947. Bugsy cracks down, tried as hard as he could to turn the Flamingo into a success. And Lansky's help helped the Flamingo start actually earning some money. So it became a little bit more profitable, maybe took some of the pressure off of Bugsy. However, it wasn't enough to satisfy Bugsy's creditors, and they got pretty tired of waiting. So Bugsy's investors decided, I think we're done here. I think we're out.
Do they whack him?
So the early hours of June 20th, 1947, Bugsy's just shot and fatally killed in his house. Fatally injured.
It was an accident.
Yeah.
It was an accident.
Yeah. 2 bullets to the back of the head.
He was cleaning his gun.
It was a suicide. So in that incident, there's an unknown shooter that fired a .3 caliber M1 carbine several times.
Oh my! An M1 carbine.
Several times at him, twice to the head. And Lansky's partners took over management of the Flamingo, like literally within minutes, I think, of Bugsy being killed. And despite extensive investigation, I'm sure they tried very hard, the murder was never solved.
He just tripped while he was cleaning his gun.
Yeah, exactly. No one was ever charged.
A tragic accident.
Yeah, no one was ever charged with murder. So, with this kind of history, where the mob like even turns on its own, how many bodies do we think are going to be found in the lake because maybe they were counting cards in the casino? Maybe they had a debt that they couldn't pay.
7.
At least 7.
7.
I'm going to bet you there's a fuckload of bodies from the mob in that lake.
12. I'm going to go up to 12.
Yeah. And I think given the I mean, I'd be curious. So, we talked a little bit about the body that was found in the barrel from like the 70s or 80s.
I saw, by the way, during like a little pause in recording, I did see it. I saw like a shin bone, definitely a shin bone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a mummy, but like just the bones.
Yeah. And then given maybe within like a week, I think it was, they found a second body. They haven't released a lot of details about the body that was just found. I think it was like today the reporting came out. I'd be very curious if it was another like old body from the 70s or 80s, or if it's something more recent, because I'm gonna fucking tell you, I think there's a lot of mob hits in that lake.
I imagine if they did like a radar sweep of it, and they would find maybe lots of barrels.
I think there's a lot of barrels. You know what this reminded me of, though?
Oil spills?
No. Al Capone.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah,
the
that
outfit.
guy.
And Bachelor's Grove.
We did go there once.
Yeah.
We did go there once.
For anyone that's like interested in this kind of history, so Bachelor's Grove near us in like the suburbs of Chicago, used to be like an old dumping grounds, I think, for Al Capone and his guys. There's like a little lake.
It's like a pond.
Yeah.
It's like a pond. It's a small body of water.
It's not very big.
It's right off the road. It's actually across the road from like a hiking trail or like a little park.
Yeah.
And to get to it, as you're driving, there's just like a closed like forest path sign.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone ignores it.
Yeah.
And there's also a little graveyard there that everyone goes to.
Yeah, Bachelor's Grove is like, I think, one of the most haunted cemeteries considered in the world. But I think part of it is because maybe the history that it potentially has with the outfit. Who knows?
Not me.
Not me. But yeah, that's today's episode. Just a little bit of random weird history for you. And I'm very curious to see what else turns up in Lake Mead. But today I learned that Las Vegas was started by the mob, and the mob would dump bodies in a giant place that people get their fucking drinking water.
You got to find a better place to hide the bodies.
Yeah, I mean, let's be more considerate here.
Like in the sand, in the desert.
Oh, that's actually, I'm happy that you brought that up. I didn't include it in any of today's notes because I did not find much on it. But apparently, as this rapid expansion has been happening for real estate over the last like decade or so, especially in like Arizona, Nevada, a lot of what would you call them? What are the fucking companies that dig shit up to put houses there?
What? The companies that dig things up to build houses.
Yeah. I don't know. So pretty much as they go to build these houses, they start to dig and they find bodies in the desert.
There you go.
They find bodies in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure those are probably also some mob hits in there. I don't think everybody in the desert is a mob body.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Every body found in the desert or in a barrel in the water is apparently a mob hit.
Yeah, I don't think that every single one could be attributed to the mob, but probably a good amount.
No, I mean, maybe they just thought it would be a good idea to like take a little sailing trip, and the barrel looked very, I don't know, buoyant.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. And then they put concrete in it to like help the buoyancy. You
gotta level out the buoyancy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no,
otherwise
too much concrete.
It'll tip over.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Exactly. Well, short and sweet for today's episode. Hope you enjoyed this little bit of weird history of how Las Vegas got its start and how the mob was in here with everything. There's like a whole separate story about how apparently the mob would like shake down the workers at the Hoover Dam. Yeah.
Why would you shake down the workers of America?
Who knows?
They're the backbone.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. It's in the past. All right.
Yeah, speaking of past, this episode is done.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye.